Qualify the Podcast Season 3. Here in the studio with Unconventional Shell, a character beyond belief. It is a fantastic time meeting you. I'm glad we're able to get this in.
Pleasure.
For a social awareness, I got the giggles. Social awareness platform, #1. Mental health is the conversation today as well. She has a book club. By terms of the beginning of her name, Unconventional, she is that. But she is also very directed. And I love the platform for what you offer for women empowerment as well as for the city. So let's get goofy and let's have that conversation.
Woo woo. I'm for it.
Pause on the gizzards and giblets. Okay. So when I had it last, let me think about it. I went a few years back, pre-COVID clearly, a few years back. I was with a young lady. We're dating. Yeah. She says,
it's not ramen.
No. She's like, I just love liver. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Now I'm a foodie. And I travel, and I eat a lot of weird stuff. But my grandmother was a fan of liver and onions, Luby style liver and onions.
That's
right?
my daddy.
Right? So she's like, I love liver. Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, okay. So now I got to figure out how to make liver because I have absolutely refused to make this in my life, right? Because it's just not a meat that I'm going to eat on a regular.
Right.
And so when I went to the grocery store, the only thing that they had was a bucket of gizzards. All right, now you're seeing where I'm going. A bucket of them.
Oh, gosh.
I said, so where am I? Like, because I'm right back to the meat market now. Like, this is what I used to do as a child.
Oh, my gosh.
You load up the car, we go into the meat market, grab some chitlins, some gizzards. Gonna have a good time cooking. Somebody is, not me. So I get, and they got, the parts, and they chopped up the liver real good. It's chicken livers.
Gosh.
And so I braised them because that was the only way I can make myself eat it.
Braised.
I braised it, and because I'm fancy. and so we ate them, and then I said, I'm never going to cook this again. So
I need a good sous chef.
Hey, a saucier. I was a saucier in San Antonio. Okay, so I had to bring that up because you said, bless my little gizzards, and I'm like, what in God's name are you talking about?
To me, it's like, it's another way for me to say, bless your heart. I just go the extra mile to say, bless your gizzards.
So bless your innards is what you're saying, because it's not just the heart that they chop up to put in that bucket that I purchased from.
Bless everything that's within you, spiritually, mentally, physically.
Everything that beats and cleanses your body. Bless it.
So that's one of my sayings.
I follow.
And literally, it's like one of those things where it's now one of the things that people know me for. They're like, oh, Chelsea, there she go. Bless her gizzards. So I'm like, yes.
Bless your gizzards.
Bless your gizzards.
Now you're on a timeline. I just hate to tell you that because at the time of this publication, right? So we're recording now. But when this published, you may want to have that on a shirt. Because I've never heard it before. So, you can throw that down and merch it out.
So I do have to copyright and all that trademark. That's the trademark it.
Trademarking would be for logo. I mean you can copyright. You can copyright this one.
Yeah,
you copyright.
As far as artistic,
artistic licensing.
Yeah,
for sure. And you put it in a nice little font. I'm a graphics guy. I don't know if you know this. You know what's weird about Houston? It ain't weird about Houston. Us as a people. Us as a people. I've never been, with the exception of our brown people, right? So black and brown people. This is where I see the most unilateral Renaissance movement, right? So that you should be able to do any and everything. So we were on a previous recording, the Backyard Brunch podcast.
Brunch.
And I was talking about this, and I said hustles have an end date. And I truly believe it, but I also believe that there's not too many minorities that embrace the hustle mentality like our black and brown people do.
That's facts.
So I grew up in the era where you would have a washateria, a cell phone repair company, probably not cell phones, more like beepers. Like beeper, I'm old.
Yeah,
so
just tell your age. Tell your age. It's fine. It's cool.
Those are grays.
Embrace your grays. I'm
embracing
mine, and this is stress. This is not like something I'm planning in my head. So
kids.
And
so
wisdom or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I'm wise, but children.
Yeah, it causes that. It does.
Yeah, but And I love them, but that's what I noticed it, and I said, okay, well, that's cool. So, yeah, I would know how to cook. Yeah, I was a graphic designer, like professional. Like I used to do this photography. I used to do this, right? That was how Roger gave the history. But at the same time, I do so much more now, and it just adds on layers. I can't even say I'm retired from half this stuff because they keep drawing me back into it in one way or another. So whereas I don't take pictures now, I consult and I direct for sure, for directorial video as well as critiquing images, because most people don't know how to crop. I learned all of this academically. Shout out to U of H, go Cougs. So like I learned all of that academically. But that's the facets of my Swiss Army knife, so to speak. It just rang my bell when I thought about it, and you were like, "How do you know this?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, we just met." I did graphic design.
No, like it's levels to it. I don't believe that once you learn something, it's not the end. It's not the complete end. Like there's levels to it. I mean, this life is a journey, literally until the day like you are laid down. So
you're on the event you decide to stop and become a hermit, and even then you know more about yourself because it's only you.
Ooh, child, listen.
Yeah.
That's the day you stop. It's when you rest.
So, your Swiss Army knife consists of what?
Wow. Shoot, that's a great question. I think I never even had to put in that tense, like in that wording before. You're brilliant with that. I ain't gonna lie.
That's pretty good.
The wording. Okay, Swiss Army knife. I will have to say, as far as my relationship skills, as far as interpersonal relationship building, because I mean, when I was growing up, I wasn't really like outspoken.
Okay.
And it's so funny how people look at me like, "Oh, you was quiet?" Yeah, I was quiet. And only because now that I know, I only center myself around certain people which I know I can connect well with.
Okay.
So the thing is, you can't connect well with everybody. But now I'm in a point where it's like, you know what? I'm in that space of really want to be out there, really want to, dig into other people's lives. I find that really intriguing, and call me a little curiosity cat, but I think it's interesting. I think it's fun, and I think it's creative as far as getting to know people and get into as far as connect and build community, because I'm really strong behind that, because I believe we cannot live life by ourselves. We cannot just go on and just try to do these obstacles, because I've done it, tried it. But as far as building relationships, that's how you live life, is with people.
So that's your personality, which is what I felt when we met, because for some reason I danced into why I thought that the 80s was the best decade ever. And you know what? And it is.
Bless your gizzards. Okay.
Right. There's not much of a sway in that argument. But I walked back to my car and said, why the hell did I have this conversation with her? Like, it's because I'm a fan of first impressions.
Okay.
But I am also at the age where I'm stopping to care. Like, I don't.
Oh, no, I feel that.
So it's not as though I'm going to completely turn up and act a fool. That's not that. It's just that I think that when the moment hits me to have a natural conversation about whatever it may be, I'm going to do that. Because I know that my intention for this is the social engagement and not anything further than that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just to be fair. It's like I could have never talked to any of the 5 people I met, like really met that day.
Right.
But I would have been happy with the exception of this one thing, I would have been happy with how the engagement went.
Right.
And then I knew that I was going to talk to you again.
Oh.
Like I just felt it. I'm glad
it's an honor. I really do love connecting with other creatives and other people that I feel, drawn to. It's because, I'm a spiritual person. Like, if the chemistry's off, then I'm like, nah. Like, I'm big on vibes. I'm big on, what people, like, put out in atmosphere.
Sure.
And you draw to what you want to connect to. And I want to connect to positive people, connect to people who really do, care about our community, care about others as well, bigger than ourselves.
Sure. I'm thankful. I appreciate you. Thank you. Before we jump any further, please remember to like and subscribe. We are found on all digital streaming platforms, including YouTube. This episode will be shown on both. You can Google me at QLAFD or Qualify the Podcast to be able to find this episode and more. Welcome to Season 3. Back to you. Your social awareness as a platform, I find interesting, but I wanted you to expand on it, just based on what I know of you and what you are continuing to coordinate on the basis of that one little facet of the knife. I think that's probably your spork of the Swiss Army knife.
Spork.
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 Spork. You see them all the time, and you never say the word. So
your wording, my gosh.
Yeah, I read.
Cheers to you.
I
and
read the back of plastic.
It's you and your imagery. I like your imagery. Like, that's pretty dope.
Really?
Yeah, like
Thanks.
like people just, think of other things, but you like a spork, Swiss Army knife. Like, oh, okay.
I'm creative.
And just the visual of it. That way people can see what you're talking about.
I think by the end of this conversation, you're going to understand why Roderick liked me so much for the portion of his visual side of the business. I
can see.
I'm like a squirrel on caffeine that maybe slipped into the cocaine. Like, it's just kind of like, oh, you know what else we can do? And then we
First
just
of
jump
all,
into that.
the squirrels are already crazy.
Squirrels are already crazy. The squirrels are not crazy. Squirrels are not crazy. Here we go. Squirrels are not crazy.
No. Side note,
crazy
crazy
is demeaning.
I've seen killer squirrels. No. Stop it.
What they are paranoid. So like that's what they are.
How does that make it better?
If you were paranoid, because now we're the only animal in the food chain that will not guaranteed die screaming. You understand what I'm saying? We don't get hunted. All right, we want to go political. Yes, we do. But we don't get hunted by another predator outside of our genome. We don't. Squirrels do. Birds, cats, bigger birds, falcons, hawks, things like that.
Right.
They can swoop down. They got death from above and death from below. Cat can jump from the ground, grab them off the pole. Mm-hmm. Dogs might be able to chase them up a tree. Mm-hmm. Falcons come down, swoop them. Squirrels have it bad. I sympathize. All right. Having said that, they're paranoid because they have to go through life saying, what the hell was that? And what the hell is this? All day long. It's exhausting. I sympathize. Deer's the same way. So they're not crazy. They're just hyper aware 12 hours a day.
It's in depth into their nature because they know where they are in the food chain.
And they ain't that high. Can't even fight back.
But you know what? At least he can run fast.
Maybe. I mean, can't outrun a falcon.
No.
He doesn't even look up. He doesn't have time to say, oh, that's it. That's it. See, now you get to walk away with that. Welcome to my world. All day long, these wheels keep turning. That's it.
You got me on that. But I still think 9 is the best decade, but whatever.
We're going to talk about that in a moment.
Yeah, I was like.
This is the best platform to do it, too, because we control the environment. I don't care what we talk about. So, but let's be on social awareness for a moment.
Gotcha.
All right. So what I know of your projects that I would like to dive into, number one is the Intimate Conversations project.
Right.
And then also, where in itself, let's just stay on that. Intimate Conversations, educate me on its purpose.
On its purpose is to enact awareness as far as taboo topics that we usually steer away from as a society within the brown and black community.
Okay.
When it comes to, like, for instance, the first Intimate Conversation was based on rape culture / sexual violence.
Okay.
Things that, especially when it comes from, from a family perspective, we generally, as a generation, try to, put that down because we have to keep going. And we have to go based on survival. Like, we don't have time to cope. We don't have time to cry. Yeah. We have time to, get to where we need to go. We have to, take care of this family.
Sure.
Regardless on how we are mentally, regardless on what scars are left, past the bruising. We're looking at, lifetime scars here. Yeah. Mental scars here that no one wants to, take care of.
Sure.
So I really want to show awareness in that because that is something that I'm still continually going through. When it comes to Intimate Conversations, I always talk from a perspective where I can relate. Because it's really weird for me, for instance, to talk about something that I don't know much about.
Okay.
And that's one of the deep-rooted things is relatability, which causes people to be more transparent and more open to the same subjects that, I will say that is definitely detrimental in our community.
Yeah, a safe space. So this was established in 2019?
Yes, it was. And I was looking as soon as I knew this conversation was going to come up, and I looked back on the video because I have small clips from that event. where it actually started from, which was based on one of the books from the book club that we had, which was called it was in my head, but it was by Roxane Gay, which she did talk on a narrative of different stories, different very descriptive stories from men and women's description on sexual violence in their lives.
Okay. Well, we're definitely going to expand on the book club. However, so in you creating this platform in 2019, you made this into a venue. I mean, it was an event, like a congregation or a gathering.
Right. I was like, you know what? I mean, it was just something that, like, those light bulb moments, because I'm an Aries. Like, once we think of an idea, we just run with it. So I was like, you know what? This is a good topic for the book club. Of course, it was just going like a regular, meeting that we do once a month. And I feel like this is bigger than just one meeting. This is bigger than just, the members that we have. Let's try to push it out to where we open to the public and see where it goes. And we had a private one for the women, of course, because sometimes, women can only express themselves in certain spaces, especially when it comes to men.
Sure. Because
usually that is the main attackers, sadly. But I was like, you know what? Let's branch it out even more, because I know men go through this as well. And that's actually on a more of a hush-hush, because men don't want to say that, I've been abused, especially if it's by another man.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's make this bigger than what it is. Let's just bring men into it and make it co-ed.
Wow. Okay.
So it was like, building blocks.
Sure. But, I mean, it's a fantastic opportunity to actually make a statement here, from social awareness, expand on your interpersonal skills, as well as you kind of stake yourself as a host for this type of environment that you created.
Right.
And you only did one, and the way I understand it is because of COVID, I guess?
Yeah, because I had the idea in my head for the next one, because I didn't expect, to be honest, to be as popular as it was or have a great feedback and reactions like it did. I was like, you know what? If it goes well, it goes well. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I just know I put my heart into it, and I did what I need to do. But when people, especially people coming from out of town for this event, was, there was tears in this place, and there was people actually telling their stories from their personal issues from the workplace and family and other members of their family or someone they know about, as far as the subject that we were talking about. How everyone was comfortable and open. That was surprising to me. I was like, wow, like, I guess this is something. I guess this is something that is needed.
Sure.
So it was supposed to be a one and done, but people are still constantly, as you can see now, from 2019, only from that one event, people are still talking about it, wondering when the next one is. And I was like, okay, let's go for it, because this is not just one thing that we're all going through as far as community. Yeah. There's a whole bunch of topics that we try to steer away from.
Sure. Yeah, no, I think the opportunity for expansion is right there. Like, my eyes are darting, because I was just thinking about the other things that could happen from it. But at the same time, I mean, that being your baby, it is my baby. It's a really good opportunity to continue along with that now that everything's kind of opened up again.
Yeah.
I can't say that it's regular, but we're living within the environment of the COVID environment now. It's not post-COVID, it's just COVID.
Right. And some people suggested, like, oh, you should do it online. I'm like, no, it's not going to have the same. It's not the same.
Yeah, I can see that. So
it's all about timing, and timing is perfect to me.
Yeah, I could agree that it's not the same. I think for the sake of it, splintering off, yes, but it being a mainstay and you branding yourself in a way that it's just virtual, I can't see that being the same.
It doesn't fit. Like, if I was doing another project, maybe.
Sure.
But for that specific topic, as far as intimate, it takes away the intimate part. Yeah. To me, it does.
Well, that's your platform. That's your structure. This wasn't recorded, right?
No, it's not. Again, I'm a one-woman show. When it came to the venue, me. Food, me. Yeah. Setup, me. Photography, the interactive gallery that I had with showcasing statistics, I did that.
Yeah.
Promo, I did it. Bringing the panel together, speakers, poets, I did that.
Okay.
So I believe as far as we continue to expand, I will build a team because, again, I can't do it by myself. But, again, I'm that person that likes perfection. I like things a certain way. But for the next one, I'm for sure am building a team, which I am branching out and building in January. So, yeah.
So with this last show, we'll call it your launch. What was the duration of the event itself? How long did it last?
Wow. See, the event was a blessing because it was at an art gallery in the museum district, and the woman literally gave it to me for like $60 for like 4 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She was like, I love what you're doing. It's a community event. I'm not going to charge you as far as like, you know, a fashion show event. Like, this is for the community.
Yeah.
So, thank goodness for you. You're in Venezuela somewhere. God dog you. Because that venue is no longer open. But it was like literally it was 3 hours, and we had like an hour of setup and cleanup. So it was like a 3 hour thing because there was poets and also the panel discussion as well as an activity towards the end.
Let me backtrack a little bit because I'm going to feel like it's just me and you talking, and I know that you're listening. I know that you're listening. My opinion about events, especially in the now environment, is that I believe that a close-knit, intimate event makes a lot more sense. This isn't something that effectively is going to raise your brand for the sake of higher profit. This is for a purpose. Right. This is philanthropic. This actually is giving back to the community and opening up a space where the community can feel safe.
Right.
This isn't the same as I'm going to throw a concert. It wouldn't even be the same if you said I'm going to have a poetry slam. Like, this is beyond that.
Right.
Like, so within the scope of what you had.
Definitely a
niche market, and I need to also put a highlight on the amount of people in the space because I don't think you can call it intimate above 50, right? Just depending on the capacity of the venue.
Right.
For the nature of what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can have a congregation. I mean, you can have a gathering. I think the purpose of that and the direction of where it would go would be a little different. But for the purpose of what it needed to serve, like when you started to talk about it before, when we first met, and said, oh, wow, that's really cool for the sake of what you needed to serve, right? The purpose that you needed to serve. So for the sake of the next one, when are you kind of loosely slating that?
April 25th.
Oh, no, it's not loosely. It's pretty firm.
Listen, okay. I'm that person that try to like plan like things of that nature about 4 or 5 months in advance. Yeah, because I've done event planning, and that was actually my job before. A good way to project like a good event as far as planning and execution will be 6 months advance, 6 to a year. But with this, since it's more intimate, more small audience, and the tickets will go fast, by the way, I do plan about 5-6 months in advance.
Okay. So where would they be able to contact you in terms of vendorship, opportunities, ability to speak, any of that right now?
We'll have my personal email and, of course, Unconventional Shell email, as well as my website, unconventionalshell.com, through my contacts.
Again, I find it interesting, and you're playing this out like a quarter of a year beforehand. Right? We're in December right now at the time of this recording. Mm-hmm. You're going into the spring for this event, end of April, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Now would be the time, if you believe in this as a conceptual avenue for you to help, because I think that's more important than the profit. So if you feel like you can commit to that, contact her. So that this can be a bigger platform than before.
I'm open. Just know, but I'm an artist, as Erica Badu said. I'm an artist, and I'm sensitive about my ish. So
there you go. There you go.